Welcome, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday. We are coming to you live here from the Illinois Media School here in Lombard, Illinois. Again, wherever it is for you, ladies and gentlemen, day or night. I hope it is just right. And with me, as always, he is back once again, ladies and gentlemen, the ever wonderful, the ever effervescent man himself, Mr. Drew Gwillem, folks. Drew, how you doing, man?
I'm here, and I'm tired, but I'm here, and I'm ready to get into this.
I'm glad you're here, man.
There's a lot going on.
Absolutely. There's so much information we have to...
I'm ready to get into one subject that I'm also tired of hearing about, like very tired of hearing about, and at this point, I have switched from what if to I don't believe a word he says.
Okay, all right.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
there's your teaser.
I like that teaser.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah,
I'm gonna probably yell at him a little.
Hey, man, that's fine. I mean,
I hate scum. I hate scum.
I understand that
scum.
completely. I mean, we on Blow the Whistle,
Yep.
we just did that too, so I completely understand. So
I'm ready to join.
I want you to have your fair chance. So when it comes to it, I'm gonna just let you go, man.
Excellent.
All right. Well, you ready to get into this first part before we get to the fun stuff? Apparently, now everybody's waiting with anticipation. But you ready to do?
Well,
the first one?
It's not really. That's not really fun. This will be the fun stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
That's not fun. That
Absolutely.
This stuff, that other stuff, just pisses me off.
Right. Well, it'll be fun. It'll be fun for them.
Yeah.
For you and I, it's just like it's a headache.
It's actually not fun to talk about because
it's not.
pathetic that these things happen in this world.
Absolutely.
But anyways, fun stuff.
Yeah. So let's do it. So. First part, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the NBA Finals. It is going down right now, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not aware, if you aren't, what have you been listening to us
Crawl
talk about?
out from under your rock.
Right. The Finals, ladies and gentlemen. First off, let's start off. The Celtics take game one, 120-108. A fantastic game played by the Celtics. Really came out, punched him in the mouth. I got the call on that one right, folks. And just an incredible first game. Obviously, Al Horford putting up a spectacular showing there. Going 6 for 8 from 3, 26 points, led the team. I will say we talked about putting a bet on Al Horford to be Finals MVP. Was that like it's like 12,000 or something, like plus 12,000? I did put $5 on this. So if this continued,
I'm gonna join you. Even if
exactly.
It's lower now.
Hey man, we're gonna have some X-Bomb's gonna have some money to spend then, my friends. So upgrades, ladies and gentlemen. But obviously. A very good first game, and then comes the second game, which I kind of felt was going to be the follow-up situation, which Golden State, absolutely, I can only use this word, discombobulating, it felt like. The Boston Celtics, absolutely big-time win for them, 107-88, just a huge victory for them. But Drew, game one, game two, complete polar opposites, both of them taking their turns dominating over the other. What were your thoughts for game one? What are your thoughts for game two? How did you see these two kind of going as far as the start of the NBA Finals?
Well, I missed some of both. So from what I saw and final scores and stats and everything, I thought the Warriors were going to come out in game one and be more of the punchy in the mouth. Yeah. And then Boston comes back in game two and puts up more of a fight and then probably ends up winning. But so it was kind of the opposite.
Right.
So I thought that the Celtics coming out and winning and slapping them in the mouth right away was good for them and kind of just jumps in from how they have been continuing to play. Yeah. Is scoring a lot of points and playing some defense. And 107 for the Warriors, I'll take that. I think you would take that on any given night. 108, 107, fairly close for both, but it was the defense for the Warriors in game two that really kind of stepped up. And obviously holding them to 88 points is not very much. But so it's kind of like, well, we've seen this hot and cold Celtics team somewhat throughout the playoffs. Yeah. And again throughout the season, how they started to how they ended. It's kind of been a little bit of the same. But I think they'll play more up tonight when they play. I think this is going to be Boston's game. Okay. They're not gonna play that discombobulated. They're not gonna look that bad. Yeah. They're gonna score more than 88 points tonight. I don't see that happening to them again. As good as the Warriors are, and I do think that the Warriors end up winning the series, I still think the Celtics are gonna. I think it's gonna go 7, and I think the Celtics. We'll get to that, but I think the Celtics win tonight.
Right. No, yeah. Look, these first two games, kind of a reflection of what we've seen in the playoffs thus far. Obviously, a lot of blowing out the other team kind of stuff, which obviously for a lot of fans, everybody can complain about, how much they don't like it, but obviously the view count has been pretty high. And these ratings, by the way, have been very strong for the finals. This is a great matchup. It's just two teams, I think. I've said this before. One of them is young talent with star power kind of trying to outplay older veteran team that kind of tries to stay 2 steps ahead of everybody else. And that's really been, I think, the plus side for the Golden State Warriors is that they've got these, they've got Curry, they've got Green, they've got, Thompson, all of these guys that are vets, and they've got these young guys kind of sprinkled in there to help balance everything out. So for the Warriors, it made total sense, obviously, when they lost the first game. I'm like, well, they'll bounce back because they'll find a way to get it done because Steve Kerr is a really good coach, and Steph Curry's not going to let this happen again. Like you said, they're not going to just take one lying down. So
been there, done that.
Exactly.
Plenty of times, and
right.
They always bounce back. This is not a new scenario for them.
Absolutely not. But let me ask you this, obviously, too, because obviously with these first 2 games, I kind of alluded to it. The fans have kind of been mixed reviews on it and stuff. Now, game 2, I'm sure you heard there was a lot of people were saying missed calls and all that kind of stuff for Draymond Green and everything like that.
Always is in every game.
But what are your feelings on, as far as these blowouts? Do you still find the enjoyment in it yourself? Do you kind of maybe feel like the blowouts are maybe missed opportunities for greater games? And with the missed calls too, what are your feelings for that?
With the missed calls, like I said, there's missed calls in every game. It's going to happen. I feel like a lot of times they're kind of letting them play as well. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. Either you want to let them play and not call some of this stuff, or be on every little thing and not letting them play as physical.
Right. So
I get it. When it's an egregious miss and it's pretty obvious, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But as far as that goes, like, it's gonna happen. It happens every game. You just kind of gotta let it be where it is, and if they challenge, they have that opportunity.
Yeah.
So I know they get one, but that's fine. They still have the opportunity now to do that. The blowouts, it's tough because there's a lot of them. There has been a lot of them in this playoffs. Finals has obviously started that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough to really keep watching when you see the trend of the game, and going into the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, it's like where this game is going.
Right.
They haven't played well all game. I don't think they're just going to snap out of it in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden they're the team that's draining threes when they haven't been able to hit any.
Right, absolutely.
So it's tough to stay tuned into those games, but overall, like, the excitement between just watching the different matchups between the players battling and seeing the wild things that still happen in these games,
right,
is what makes it entertaining.
Yeah, I totally agree. Look, game 2, a lot of people were complaining about how Jaylen Brown was missing a lot of shots. Well, Draymond Green did a really good job smothering him defensively. And then there were times where they really kind of let Jaylen take his shot, where to me it was kind of fun because I'm always one who likes the game within the game, right? The mental game, the aspects that we don't really talk about that we see. Draymond letting him take a shot is kind of like, come on, try it. I dare you. Like, you
won't make it.
Right.
If anybody plays more mental games, it's Draymond
absolutely.
Green. Then I think it may be anybody in the league.
Oh, absolutely. But I love that. Like, he's like, come on, I dare you. Take the shot. Like, you've already won the game at that point because you've beaten him. You got in his head. Like, you were on him all game. You were testing his shot. You were making it difficult for him. Now you're kind of like, come on, shoot it. I dare you. And every time the shot is just like an inch or two off from hitting. I love that. I like that little, like you said, the battle with the players and stuff. The fact that it's, Tatum versus Steph, who's going to be able to lead their team to the win, right? That's the matchup that a lot of people are looking at, is who's going to be the leading their team to the next title, right? Who's going to be able to do it. So I agree. I think the fact that people want to try and play off, the games are blowouts and stuff. Look, it's the NBA Finals. Like, this is going to happen sometimes. You're going to get the better of a team. I still also think, too, the Celtics are probably still exhausted.
Yeah.
I think they burned themselves out a little bit in the first game. Now, they've gotten they got a little bit of rest, but now you got to go into game 3. So now hopefully they have a chance to breathe and maybe they'll be able to compete. It's going to be difficult. I know that, but I don't see a problem with it at all. And like you said, with the foul calls, because everybody was talking about that, and I was just kind of like, you know what? When it comes to Draymond Green, do you really expect him to get that many foul calls? Because he is a big name player. Like, is he a star? I would debate that. He's a star within basketball, let's say that. But
I think he takes this national stage, the final stage, to show everybody what a star he is.
Right.
And I don't mean necessarily with his basketball play.
Yes.
Yeah. Hollywood style star.
Yeah, right. Yeah, absolutely. He'll be in movies.
I think I know he is who he is and he plays that, but I think he plays it up on this stage
absolutely
as well.
Yes.
So I think you see a lot of that coming out here too. He has his own podcast where he just mouths whatever he wants anyways.
He does.
So like I said, I think that's who he is, but I think a lot of that too is playing it up some.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, that guy will have a life in media afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
If he doesn't get Chuck's job, by the way, in NBA on TNT, I would not be shocked, because since Chuck is at some point going to leave. But Draymond is a great piece. By the way, too, I still think he was very instrumental in this last game. I mean, if you watch him play, the defense, the offense he had, by the way, he led the team in assists too. He's just an X factor. And I said that also with Kayvon Looney. Kayvon Looney has really emerged as like a huge X factor in this team.
I feel like for as long as he's been there, he's always been a guy that's never talked about, nobody ever says anything about, but then steps up in the big stage.
Yeah.
I believe when they won one of their other finals before, pretty sure he was there. Pretty sure he was on the team when they won, and I'm pretty sure they were down big men and needed big men, and he stepped up.
Yeah, if I'm mistaken, I think he was there for their back-to-back titles with Kevin Durant, where he played forward, like small forward, power forward, center. But in this one, it's like, well, James Wiseman's constantly hurt, and we need somebody.
He hasn't played all season.
Right, he hasn't played at all this season. We need a center. Hey, you're 6'9", small ball. Okay, let's go. Oh, it works because he gets rebounds. He's not afraid to fight with the bigger guys. So, and in this one, I mean, he was perfect on his shots, and he just put in work, and he frustrated Al Horford. Except for the time that Steph Curry was on Al Horford, and I don't know why Al Horford just didn't push him into the basket. I don't get that, but nevertheless, that's the best part about this Golden State team, though, is that you see how everybody's contributing in their own way, right? Be it Andrew Wiggins, Looney, Poole's coming off the bench and scoring 17. I mean, everybody's got their part to play, and it's made this, I think, and like you said, the matchups, all of it, it's making it an interesting series all nonetheless. And it's the finals too, right? Let's just be honest. But speaking of the finals, Game 3, well, not the final, but the finals, Game 3 is coming up here tonight. It's kind of a big momentum shifter. A lot of times people say that it's the Game 3 one that can sometimes be the shifter for teams, win or lose on this. But I know you kind of alluded to it already, Drew, but I mean, just give your pick. How do you see this one going? How do you think this is going to turn out?
I'm going to take Boston tonight at home.
Okay.
I think a little bit of rest, playing at home, get some of that energy back, and they're going to come out and have a good game. I'll say the 3.5. I think that seems about right. I think it's still going to be really close, and I think we're hopefully we're going to get a good game tonight. So I'm going to take the under as well, because I do think that both sides are going to kind of play a little better defense.
Okay. All right. I like that.
Together.
Yes.
Both sides.
Combined.
Combined.
Yes, absolutely. I actually am going to go the opposite way. I'm going to go with Golden State. I feel like even though they're traveling to Boston, I feel like they've got a little bit of momentum on their side now. I think, like you said, you're getting a couple days rest. Well, so are the Warriors now. I think the fact that they were able to win this last game, they were able to win Game 2, they'll take that momentum. I think it'll be close. I'm going to say it's a 2-point victory for Golden State, and I agree. I think it's the under, too, because I think defense will dominate this day between these two sides as of right now. I just find it hard to nothing against Boston. It's just it feels like Golden State, because of their veteran leadership and everything, they have momentum, and I don't think Curry and Thompson and those guys are going to let it go. Although
Thompson's,
I was going to say,
ice cold as it gets.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you think that in order for the Warriors to win this series out, do you think that Klay Thompson then has to be the effective shooter that we've seen? Obviously, when they were able to win against in Game 5 against Dallas, we saw he had a spectacular shooting day. Do you think they need that Klay Thompson, or do you think that it is more likely that they get a performance like more from Jordan Poole, potentially?
At this point, I think it's more likely that Jordan Poole is the guy that could put up the 30. Klay's just been really cold.
Yeah.
And again, was out for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. He's played this season out, and he's made it to this point, but he's still been hot and cold this season.
Yeah.
He hasn't been fully himself, it seems like. Yes, he can still catch fire. We've seen that as well.
Absolutely.
So if that happens, I don't think they necessarily need him to do that, because we saw he was ice cold Game 2, and they still won.
Right.
But they only scored 107 points. They only scored 108 points in Game 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think in order for that to jump up higher into those 120s, 130 even, he has to be that guy. But for them to overall win the series, I don't think they necessarily have to get that 30-point-a-night guy for the rest of the series.
Okay.
Because I do think they can get that out of Jordan Poole.
Okay. I mean, that's been one of the things that I was talking about with the boys from Blow the Whistle and stuff, because I feel like obviously the question of Jordan Poole getting a max contract is out there right now. Personally, myself, I feel like he has certainly earned it, the way that he was able to step in and play his game and kind of become a part of it. I know he's kind of made a statement saying he wants to be kind of a part of the Splash Brothers, if you will, kind of be the third Splash Brother. I actually make the argument that there's a chance, I think, that he could be the replacement Splash Brother at this point, the step Splash Brother, if you will, to kind of take the place of Klay Thompson, because if anything, like you said, his season was very streaky. He had some games where you were like, oh, this is the old Klay Thompson we got to know, but he's not the same motion defender we've seen before. He's kind of a stay at the corner, hit the 3 shot, come off ball screen and hit the high top 3. Or the jump or anything like that. He's not driving to the basket anymore at all. Like, that's all done with at this point.
Used to play really good defense.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So that's all. I mean, that's why I feel like, for me, Jordan Poole, I think, is going to be the man that takes over for Klay, which I know is hard to say because you're still paying Klay a lot of money.
Right.
And you want to not obviously lose that chemistry, but, I mean, what do you think about that? Do you think that Jordan Poole at this point is going to potentially move out Klay Thompson?
I don't think necessarily right away, because I think Golden State is going to give him the time to give him another season for sure to see, like, okay, he had some serious injuries.
Right, yes.
Very serious
ACL injury, very
Achilles
bad.
injury.
Right.
Those are some that you never see those guys come back and play the way they did.
Right.
They're never the same after that. And I think they're going to give him a chance, especially one more year, to see, can he get close to that again? Because this year he wasn't.
Yeah.
But again, this is his first actual season back. So get him another one under his belt, another full year of being recovered and not injured.
Mm-hmm.
Strengthen himself up some more and see where that goes. But eventually, yeah, I can definitely see Jordan Poole as being the guy that replaces him.
Yeah, definitely. For those who don't want to know as well, Jordan Poole, he averaged, I believe it was 18. The internet here is just killing us right now. I mean, as of this point right now in the playoffs, Klay Thompson's actually averaging about 20 points a game throughout these playoffs. Meanwhile, Jordan Poole is averaging about 18.5 points per game. So, I mean, listen, the small ball thing obviously works. If you move Klay Thompson out to more of the small forward spot, I think that can certainly do wonders for him. But like you said too, you're not getting the same reaction from him in the same way. Yeah, for the season, Jordan Poole, 18.5 points a game. Klay Thompson, and this is, by the way, in 32 games played and started for him, he averaged 20 points a game. He just shot over 40%. So a decent pour out, but in 30 games compared to an 82-game season, who knows what he looks like. So if that was just a small sample size, like you said, give him another year. Let's see what he can do before we hit the go button on Jordan Poole. But to me, it's a difficult call because Jordan Poole's 22, 23, coming into his prime somewhat. Looks like he's a really good complement for this team. I find it really hard to kind of shy away from that, because if this is what he did in 1 year as mostly as a starter,
Yeah.
I'd like to see him as the full-time guy potentially, because if he can be that next guy to drop 20 points for you from beyond the arc and then some, I mean, and maybe help relieve Steph Curry of some point guard duties, yeah, I think you keep him around and I think you give him the money. But it'll be difficult to say, but it should be a good matchup tonight. Game 3, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see it. Man, Drew's got Boston. I'm taking Golden State, so we'll see we'll see what the outcome is, because I think this is going to be a serious do-or-die matchup depending on how the momentum shifts. So, but I agree with you, though, because you kind of made the statement. I do think this game's going 7.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I really don't care who wins this series.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want it to be a good finals.
Absolutely.
Finish up the last 5 games.
Yep.
Because it's going 7. Doing it. Make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And make them all close, fun games to watch.
I want last second shot. I want the Stars taking that shot. I want either Tatum's little alley-oop, not alley-oop shot, but little layup he had on Kyrie Irving, or I want the classic Steph from deep 3 kind of 3-point shot to win it. One of the 2 stars I feel like has to do it. Actually, you know what? Even let's make it the most obscure player on each team, right? Let's make it like Aaron Naismith from Celtics hitting the shot, or
I don't think he'll be on the floor.
Yeah, I got a feeling he wouldn't be on the floor for that. Game 7, shots on the line. I don't think he's going anywhere near the court. Sorry, Aaron.
Not even going to touch the ball.
No, not even.
Not even if it gets thrown out of bounds.
I did put out here, I think Peyton Pritchard could possibly lead the Celtics in threes. So if there's a bet out there for who's going to lead in threes, look for Peyton Pritchard, man. He doesn't get enough credit for what he does on shots. All right, well, that's going to do it for the NBA Finals, ladies and gentlemen. When we do come back here, though, we've got NFL news to cover. So much has gone down in football town. We'll be talking about that here next on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. Welcome, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. Yet again, thank you for all staying with us, ladies and gentlemen, listening to us, all that good stuff. We are back again. As always, I'm still Andrew Valentin. I'm still here with Mr. Drew Gwillem, and we just talked about the NBA Finals, games 1 and 2, and we made our predictions for game 3. So we'll see how that plays out. But Drew, we've got our favorite subject, you and I. We enjoy it so much. It's the NFL, not the subject at hand, but yes. Football, nonetheless. Are you ready to get into this NFL news, my friend?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, let's start it off. We'll start it off with some good news. Let's start it off with some good news. For those who don't know, a very, very talented defensive player just received a big time bonus. That's right. Aaron Donald, defensive tackle for the Los Angeles Rams, signed a 3-year, $95 million extension to stay with the teams after contemplating the possible return or retirement from the NFL. The defensive tackle, Aaron Donald, decided that he wanted to stick around. Where the Rams are getting this money, I have no idea. We still have no clue. I think they just turned off the cap.
It's LA money.
Yeah, it's LA money, which...
Stupid LA money.
I didn't know we were playing baseball where it's just like whatever you've got in your bank vault, that's what you can spend. It just seems astronomical. This comes, by the way, with $60 million, I believe it is, fully guaranteed for the 3 years. So a lot of money up front for Aaron Donald. Certainly a well-deserved player for it, considering that, believe it or not, folks, he's actually been playing on a very small deal for the most part. I think he was only making about $4 or $5 million, maybe even less than that, I think, for this last year. So huge major upgrade for him. Certainly, again, well-deserved for this player. But I mean, Drew, they signed yet another guy to a massive deal. I mean, and of course, it's arguably their best player on the team, the guy that you would have to say won them the Super Bowl. Thank you again. But yes, as you can tell. But I ask you this: obviously, getting Aaron Donald back is a very significant, big deal. Do you think that he is enough momentum though with this team to possibly repeat with this new contract? And also, where is this money coming from? Do you have any idea where this possibly could be going or coming from? Because I'm lost at words.
I'm pretty sure they have their own tree. And I thought that was always like a fictional thing. Yeah, but right. Apparently it's real.
Parents always told us money doesn't grow on trees. Yeah. Well, apparently if you go to
the LA Rams,
we gotta go chop it down. I think.
Yeah. No, transplant.
Transplant. Yes.
We chop it down. It doesn't grow more money.
Of course. What am I thinking? We have to.
I don't know.
Get the roots out of the ground.
Apparently Andrew hates money too.
You stop putting things in my.
He wants to chop down the money tree.
All right.
xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. Why does Andrew hate money?
Why do I
chop down the money tree?
Yeah, why do I hate money? Sure.
Yeah, okay. But anyways.
Yes.
That'd be my only thought. I don't know where it keeps coming from, except for they must make tons of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Keeping Aaron Donald there locked in for as long as he wants to play should be one of their main goals.
Yeah.
And they are keeping him around for a lot longer now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So that was huge. Obviously, he's one of the best players, not at his position, best players in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Best athletes in the NFL. He's a freak. This dude is ridiculous. And at the end of the day, when his career is all said and done, he may be the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
He may be that guy. He's on his way. And having him stay as an anchor for that defense and that team is huge.
Yeah,
huge for them. And of course, I didn't see him going. He may not have played all season until he got a deal, but I didn't see him just retiring,
just walking away.
I didn't see him just walking away from them. So I saw him playing for them. I think they have as good a chance as anybody has had in the past to repeat.
Yeah. They
have all the talent still on defense. They have all the talent on offense, maybe even made some upgrades.
Yeah.
So I don't see why they can't be a team that repeats.
I agree. Unfortunately, I obviously hope the Cincinnati Bengals can too. But nevertheless, the Rams right now, look, they're stacked with talent. They also got back Bobby Wagner on a signed deal too. I mean, Allen Robinson, another addition like this is ridiculous.
Right.
It's utterly ridiculous how much money they have to spend. I can't fathom where it's coming from. I really can't. The only thinking I can have is that they are pushing everybody's money back so far on their contracts that at some point it's all going to catch up with them. But by that point, I think they're hoping that like Matthew Stafford's going to be retired and maybe Aaron Donald will be retired. Like that money will then no longer be a hit on their books. They can just pay it off, get it out, and move on to the next players. And and at this point, you've traded away every draft pick possible for the next like 30 years. So you better hope these guys stick around. But I agree. I think Aaron Donald's going to stick around. I think it's going to be it's a lot more punishment coming from that defense. They've certainly upgraded in a lot of ways. So I'm congratulations to Aaron Donald. I fully expect him to dominate. As far as where he ranks as like an all-time player, like, I mean, I think he's like in the top 150 right now. Probably at the end of it could be in the top 100, top 50. I mean, I think for defensive tackles, I think he's top 10, top 5 easily right now. I honestly, I mean, the only other guys I could see are like John Randall and Reggie White and a few other guys that could rank above him. Like he's that kind of caliber of player. Like we won't probably find another guy like him, I don't think, in a long time, unless there's somebody out there, in which case
Aaron Donalds don't grow on trees.
Aaron Donalds do not grow on trees.
No. Grew to pay him.
No, they grow in Pitt University apparently.
Yeah. The Bears were so close.
I know, man. I know. Hey, man, there's one in Alabama right now that a lot of people think could be one of those next great defensive players. So Hey, Bears, if you need a defensive end, I'm telling you, Will Anderson Jr. is a real deal. And I don't say that as an LSU fan. All right, let's get to the next story because obviously this is the one. If you don't know, Deshaun Watson, we have not stopped talking about Deshaun Watson, it feels like, for months now. But that's just because it seems like he and his lawyer can't just stop saying things and doing things. And I can't remember if I mentioned this the last time we talked about it.
Oh, my God.
But I don't know if you've heard about this, but obviously Deshaun Watson's lawyer recently kind of came out and said,
I heard that clown.
Yeah, I had heard, he had said that obviously when it comes to, how do I put
happy
it?
endings?
Happy endings, yes, thank you.
It's not illegal to ask for a happy ending.
Yes, it's not illegal to ask for a happy ending, which legality of this does not, for me, I'm not going to go on the rant. I want to save that for you because I want you to do it. But I'm just going to say the legality of that does not mean anything. It is about his intentions to try and force these women to do a sexual act potentially against their will or, advance towards them like that made them feel uncomfortable. That is the big situation about this. Well, a 24th civil lawsuit is coming forward, and it has now been revealed that apparently via the help of the Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson had apparently had 66 women lined up for individual massage therapists. 24 of the women who have sent the lawsuits in are a part of those 66.
That's in 17 months.
Yeah, in 17 months between
66.
Yes.
Go ahead. I'll let you finish.
Yeah.
Go.
It's between 2019, fall of 2019, I think it was, and spring of 2021, I think is what they said that the timeline was, or 2020. It's just very unbelievably to hear this number, and then to hear that the Houston Texans were the ones kind of like flipping the bill or hooking these things up, kind of, I guess, just adds another level to this. But Drew, I know there's more to say on this, but I want you to say what you have to say, even include whatever I haven't included in this, to say what you have to say. By all means, what are your thoughts now with all this information that's now dropping, even more so for Deshaun Watson?
It's just like as more and more suits come out, you're like, okay, well, how could it not be true with all these women coming forward? And then you hear more and it's like, well, no, 2 grand juries heard it and they aren't going to file suits because it's he said, she said. So they can't. Okay, looking at it from that side, that doesn't mean that no wrongdoing was done. That means that they can't find complete and total proof and evidence that this happened other than he said, she said.
Yeah.
That's why they're not doing it with the grand juries.
Right.
But as far as what actually happened, this is 100%. I will not ever be swayed otherwise that he has done this. He has done this to every single one of these women, and he continued to do this. 66 massage therapists in 17 months, different ones. Are you kidding me? I heard somebody talking about it on the radio today as a professional athlete.
Yeah.
These organizations have therapists and these things set up so that way you have somebody that stays the same,
right?
Because they can get to know your body and get to know what's ailing you and help fix those things that are ailing you and you consistently have problems with.
Absolutely.
That's not the case here. You don't have 66 different massage therapists in 17 months if you aren't trying to get a piece from every single last one of them. This dude has problems, serious problems. And he, as far as right now is concerned, this is scummy behavior. He is scum. 100% believe all of this happened now. It's not a what if, we'll see what more comes out of it.
Yeah.
I will not believe otherwise that this didn't happen every single time. And once his lawyer comes out and says, well, asking for happy endings isn't illegal, that right there tells you it exactly happened.
Yeah.
Why would you even come out and say that if it didn't happen? Because it did. And now you're trying to backpedal, and now you're trying to say Deshaun Watson said what he said, and it only happened with certain, it was consensual between a few, was what you found out after.
Yeah.
And then it was, 66 different women, and it's like, now asking for a happy ending isn't illegal. It's not against the law. You're a lawyer, and that's what you're coming out with. You're a human being, and you're doing this to all these women. And now a new 24th case is out there. Mm-hmm. This dude should never play another down in football. He should never be allowed in the league. I'm sorry. This isn't okay. It's not okay.
Yeah.
These things need to stop. They need to stop. I would be just as pissed off as they are. They're like, this dude's getting rewarded for his wrongdoings.
Yeah.
The highest guaranteed contract in NFL history just got rewarded with by the Cleveland Browns for doing this garbage. I understand why they're mad. I hope they take every last dime of that from him, and he has nothing. And the fact that Cleveland worked this out, so when he's suspended for the year, that he doesn't lose any money, that's pathetic in itself. Because they had to have known this stuff and said, they're not going to, wait, no civil jury, no grand jury is going to take this. So you're not going to end up in prison. You may just have to pay. So at least we got our quarterback, right? That's pathetic. It's pathetic. I hope he's out. And if he ever does get it, I believe people deserve second chances. The only way he's ever going to get a second chance is if he goes through a long time of therapy, gets through all of this, works through all this, improves, and does good things to help stop this from ever happening with other people. You better prove straight up on your own, without the cameras on you, that this is the steps you're going to take. And until that happens, I don't think he should ever play again.
I don't know what else I can add to that. Well said there. Honestly, Drew, that was very, very well eloquated there. Honestly, that was, and I feel the same way at this point. I still, listen, I'm still one who always wants to approach everything of innocent until proven guilty. But like you said, when this information continues to pour out, I mean, we've talked about this so many times with different athletes. The information pours out more and more and more. And it's just like, at what point do we stop saying, okay, well, there's got to be an answer to this, right? There is no answer to this anymore. This is getting to a point now where the needle's like, it's like 98% probably he did something, and he's going to have to pay the price for it.
Well, you look at Ray Rice, Kareem Hunt, Deshaun Watson.
Right.
How many others have there been that have done these things?
Right.
And these rich scumbags that get away with this stuff because they have money and power and status and think they can do whatever the hell they want. Try and put your hands on somebody your own size or somebody bigger and see what happens.
Yeah.
You get knocked out.
Yeah.
I'm done with these.
No, I understand.
Let's get some Boondock Saints people going. Maybe not as that extent,
right, yes.
But break a few legs.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind hearing the prayer themselves coming from them. But
snap a leg and never play it down again.
The more and more we see this story grow as it is, the more, like you said, I myself can't help now but say, like, something's wrong with him. Something is, and now it makes me wonder too. What did the Texans tell the Browns? Because if they are clearly, if they are flipping the bill on this or whatever the case is, what did you tell the Cleveland Browns? Like, you're gonna have to get ready for some storm.
Not to mention, I didn't even say anything about the Texans.
Yeah.
These scumbags as an organization come in and they're like, oh, here, make them sign non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they put it together for him.
I'm sure they did.
To give to these non-disclosure agreements
so
they don't have to hear about the nasty crap he says to people and tries to get them to do.
Yeah.
Great job making an expansion team that came out to be the Texans. Great job they've done.
Well, I mean, we joked about on Blow the Whistle. I mean, this is the McNair family, which, by the way, if you want to know, they are the evangelical Christian. Everybody is such of a good heart thing. Yeah, well, I mean, I have a distinct feeling that they said you had to have told the Browns. They had to have said something to him and said, hey, something's coming. We can't get into the details of it. You want Deshaun? Let's make the trade. But, hey, we're just warning you. Stuff's going to probably come out if this goes any further. Or they probably kept their mouth shut because that seems to be kind of their MO at this point. In hopes and just like, is there anything going to be happening? No. Nothing's going to come out. Nothing's going to go wrong.
Don't ask, don't tell. Just don't get caught, and then we won't have to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, guess what? You got caught.
Yeah, and now the Texans, Now, I would not. I won't be surprised if the penalties are probably going to be levied against them. Losing draft picks, hopefully a very large fine, which I know to them is peanuts because they're $1 billion family, whatever. But still, something has to be done. Draft picks lost, anything like that. You have to, I don't know, pay whatever to the victims or something like that. Should be part of the situation. This is not done yet, though. This feels like if this is the case, then somewhere along the line, I feel like the McNair family is going to find themselves potentially in litigation as well. Maybe even, we're talking about Daniel Snyder potentially being moved.
There's another one.
Yeah, there's another one that, who knows? He could be voted out, but the league has the ability to potentially remove people from their situation if things become bad enough. And if this gets bad enough, which it's certainly pointing that way for the Texans, the McNair family could also be out as well with Daniel Snyder.
You want to incite change in America, in this world where we're at? Mm-hmm. Do it here on this biggest stage. Do it right here where everybody's watching, everybody can see. Prove a point. Start proving points instead of how much money this dude can make us.
Yeah, seriously.
But that's all they care about is their money, so It's hard.
Absolutely.
Because they don't care about anything else but themselves and their damn money.
No, the guy wants the pinky and the chocolate starfish, and next thing you know, he all of a sudden now it's like, oh, well, that's not a problem. That's not an issue. All of a sudden it costs some money. Whoa. That's a problem now. That can't, yes, that is the man whose chocolate starfish must be very happy at the time. So
that's disgusting.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, David Dykstra, for that one.
Is that what you were going to tell me?
Absolutely. That was the word of the day, folks.
Wow. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you might enjoy that, but nevertheless, outside of the comedy of that little spit, this is disgusting. This is outrageous. The fact that it's gone on this long is atrocious. I mean, like you said, at this point, I feel like you should get a year suspension. I really am with you, though.
If Calvin Ridley gets a year for gambling, this dude better get more than that.
If Trevor Bauer, by the way, who has not, he got slammed with what he got slammed, 2-year suspension.
Yeah.
If that's the case, that's the only thing I could base it off of. Then I would say, if this is true, then you have to ditto that, or like you said, it's got to be lifetime ban. Yeah. Because if you allow this to be a person that could come back to the league, this is disgusting. This is atrocious. And this will lose you. Yeah, I know I say this in retrospect, knowing that people are still going to watch, but this will lose you fans and sponsors. Sponsors are the ones that I wish would take this stuff and pull themselves out.
Again,
they did with Washington.
This is why we don't look at these people as role models.
No.
They are not that. They will never be that. You get your good guys. You get your good guys out there who do all the right things.
Absolutely.
But at this end of the day, you actually really never know because you're not with them at all times. You're not close to them. You just watch them play a sport on the weekends.
Right.
Or, baseball and others, it's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
But you're watching them from a TV or from the stands, and they're playing a game.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They were blessed with athletic ability to be out there on the field and make millions of dollars doing it, and they abuse that power all the time.
Yeah. Again, Drew, well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. And I think that's going to end it for the NFL stuff because, honestly, this was the real kind of major story we had to get to on this one. But obviously...
Take a deep breath.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're going to get to some more fun stuff here for you, ladies and gentlemen. But obviously, let us know what you think about the Deshaun Watson stuff. How do you think Aaron Donald's new contract is going to affect the Rams maybe down the line? How do you think he's going to do with the Rams this year? Obviously, comment down below. Let us know. We want to hear from you guys. And when we do come back, guess what? We're playing one of our favorite games that you guys love. It'll be, as always, coming up next here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show.
Hey, watch your mouth. Why? I'll just put a quarter in the swear jar. Once it's filled, we get a Coors party after work. I've been drinking Coors since my college days. The cold draft taste is second to none. Yeah, worth the recorder, am I right? You know it, mother.
Hey, you get those reports done?
Yeah. No. You, sir. Attention, employees.
The staff meeting, scheduled for this evening, will now be held tomorrow early as
Who's all? Dudes, we're only 75 cents short. Oh, shh. Boss. Hey, sir, go yourself. You're fired! I still get beer?
And welcome back, everybody, to the Xbox Sports Live Show. My name's Andrew Valentin. I'm still here with Drew Gwillem, and we just had ourselves a good little laugh on the break there.
Filthy humor.
Yeah, absolutely, at the expense of one discussing individual named Deshaun Watson. But ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get away from all the bad stuff, and we're gonna get to the fun stuff. Drew, are you ready to play our favorite game?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, folks. It is player swapping. And as you know, if you don't know, but I will tell you, we take star players, we put them on other teams and swap them with other players from the opposite position, and we predict how they will do. And for this one, folks, we finally have for you an actual star. So
yeah,
I know.
Well, for most of the
for
season.
the most part,
for most of a season.
Yes, for most of a season. It is Mr. Ezekiel Elliott. Yes, that's right, Ezekiel Elliott. Star running back, I guess, for the Dallas Cowboys, more or less.
Yeah, of course.
Finished, I couldn't
really have to find a picture of him jumping over a Bears player.
Unfortunately, it was the only one that fit where he was like in the middle, because everything else was just like his headshot, and I'm like, well, that sucks. And then I'm like, all right, this is a bear. Well,
I hope everybody gets used to that, because it's not necessarily going to be Ezekiel Elliott all the time.
No, that might be Tony Pollard or
yeah.
Saquon or somebody doing it again. So. Yeah, we'll see. But, so we got Ezekiel Elliott. He's our player for the week. So, obviously, if you want to know his stats, just over 230 rushes, 1,000, just hit 1,000 yards. I couldn't believe that. I thought he was maybe under 1,000 yards on that. 10 touchdowns, though, too. I forgot he got in the end zone that many times. And then a couple of catches there for 287 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, a decent year. Obviously, the Cowboys really emphasized throwing the football.
He also missed some time.
Tony Pollard also, by the way, stepping in. So
take some of the pressure off.
Which obviously is kind of becoming the game now. Although he's supposed to be the every down back, according to every expert that's out there.
He is a true 3-down back. He can play all over the field.
Yes. He just has to stay healthy. And
yes.
Apparently also needs really good offensive linemen. So I thought
that too,
being the star, and
helps.
and I've also said that the Dallas Cowboys maybe needed to trade him to exit all that money to have kept Amari Cooper. Obviously, they did the opposite and traded Amari Cooper. Fine, whatever. I thought it'd be good, put him on the player swap. So, Drew, you ready to hit this, my man?
Let's do it.
So the first one up, we've got Ezekiel Elliott on the the Las Vegas Raiders.
Come on.
I know. I messed up. Yes, on the Las Vegas Raiders. So he's swapping positions with Josh Jacobs. Obviously, had a decent season for them, considering they did make the playoffs and he led the team in rushing. But Drew, Josh Jacobs is on the Cowboys. Ezekiel Elliott's on this new look Raiders team now. I mean, what are your thoughts on how Jacobs does and how Elliott does?
So if Jacobs comes to the Cowboys, I think then what you have there is an even closer to a 50-50 split with him and Pollard.
Okay.
Because Josh Jacobs is not really a pass catching back.
Mhm.
I know he has more receptions, more yards than Zeke,
Right.
but that's not really his game.
Mhm.
He's a runner. He's a hard-nosed runner, up the middle, around the edge, that kind of thing. He can catch the ball, and he can do that.
He's more of a screen pass kind of guy.
Right.
He's not going to run any kind of
Any
crazy routes.
Yes. So there, I think Jacobs will get maybe more running work, but he's not going to get much in the passing game. I think you're going to see a lot more from Pollard. So I think you're going to get maybe some numbers down on Jacobs.
Yeah.
Whereas Ezekiel Elliott goes there and they can throw him all over the field, especially now with the receiving threats that they have there.
Yeah.
To be able to just throw him out in the slot too.
Mm-hmm.
While you have him in there and Waller and Devontae Adams and Renfro, plus Ezekiel Elliott running the ball as well as he does, I think he definitely boosts the Raiders team over the edge.
Mhm.
Like now, hey, this dude is, I wouldn't say night and day better than Jacobs, but he boosts the Raiders team to a higher level, and Jacobs probably keeps them around the Cowboys around the same type of level, because yes, he can still run, and then you still have your pass catching threat in Tony Pollard.
Okay. I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I think for Josh Jacobs on the Cowboys, I think Tony Pollard probably becomes the starter. Not trying to knock Jacobs. He's just, look, he didn't pick up his 5th-year option in Oakland right now, so it's kind of a prove it thing, right? They want to know he's potentially a franchise back. Otherwise, they're going to move on to other options, right? And I think they've already kind of been exploring that anyway. So I would say that I think Pollard feels more like he's a little bit bigger, and he's, like you said, he's got a passing game kind of effect to him. Certainly, they're kind of saying, hey, it's on Dak now to lead us. So I think Pollard gets maybe a little bit more of the carries at that point. Jacobs is maybe more of your goal line guy, your red zone kind of back, where you can throw him a screen pass if you want. If not, you're just charging him up the middle. Third down kind of guy, get you that third down to convert, all that kind of stuff. He'll be good for that. But I agree. I think his numbers will be down 600 yards, maybe 700 yards rushing, maybe have 5 or 6 touchdowns. But I would expect Pollard to maybe take a majority of the carries kind of going forward. I agree with Ezekiel Elliott. I don't know if his number. Listen, I don't even know if he would hit 1,000 yards, because it sounds like with Josh McDaniels, he kind of wants to commit a lot to getting the ball out there to who is clearly right now one of their best players in Devontae Adams. And obviously you have Renfro and, like you said, Waller and all these guys, but certainly putting him in the slot, work him out of the backfield, even handing the ball off to him in the red zone. We've seen he can work. I mean,
for sure.
Even when the offensive line,
yeah, he's a beast. When he puts his head down and runs up the middle, he's a beast.
And I think having another back out there to complement him like you had with Pollard, to, like you said, take the pressure off of him, certainly can help. Because kind of like with Jacobs, not to say he can't do it, because he has, but I feel like Elliott is a guy that sometimes he's not always at his best as a receiver. He sometimes, I think, has his drop moments at times. So having another guy like a Pollard that can go out and be that catching back helps a lot. And like you said, it takes it allows him to take a break, breathe, not get beat up, because he's been carrying the workload since he's been a rookie for this team, and it's been hard. So, but I think this Raiders team, honestly, Dallas with Josh Jacobs, 10-7, maybe 9-8. Elliott on the Raiders, I think they win the division. I think that's like a final factor to put them in the division, because the Chiefs, I mean, I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but he's nowhere near what Ezekiel Elliott is.
No.
And unfortunately, that hurts my soul as an LSU fan. Nevertheless, I do think the Raiders could be 12-5, maybe even 13-4 and win the division. And I'm sure Ezekiel Elliott be all smiles about that. So I'd be fascinated to see how that would play out. But again, that contract is massive. That's obviously the big problem with trading Elliott. All right, let's move on to the next one, shall we? Next up, we have Ezekiel Elliott on the rivals themselves, the San Francisco 49ers. This would probably never happen because they don't even like moving pieces with each other at all.
Not allowed.
No, not allowed. 49ers and Cowboys not allowed to make trades, even though they did make that Charles Haley trade, which I think is probably why they stopped making moves with each other.
Why did we do that?
Yeah, right. We could have had like 20 Super Bowls. Why would we ever do that? Shame. But all right, so Elijah Mitchell, who had a great rookie year, I mean, to come out as a 6th-round draft pick, is going to the Cowboys, and you have Ezekiel Elliott going to this 49ers team. What are your thoughts on how this plays out for both sides?
Mitchell had a great rookie season. Being a 6th-round draft pick, nobody really thought he was going to boost himself the way he did.
I didn't even know he was on the team, to be quite honest.
Right, and he came out in camp, and that's what he did. He showed everybody something and won that job.
Yeah.
You saw Trey Sermon as, this guy talked about him in camp like he's going to be the guy that's going to eventually take over, and it wasn't.
No.
Now, whether this is necessarily Mitchell all the time, year after year after year, is yet to be seen.
Yeah.
Was a rookie, okay? While very excellent, he's not established as Ezekiel Elliott is.
Right.
Again, had problems with injuries himself. So I think if Ezekiel Elliott came to San Francisco, that solidifies their run game for them.
Yeah.
He can do all those things. Plus, they have plenty of other backs always.
Absolutely.
That come out. So they have plenty of options to always give Elliott a rest. So I think that boosts San Francisco up even higher, gives them a chance to make that push for the Super Bowl again.
Yeah.
And have a better running game.
Yeah.
Because they have a good offensive line. Now, Mitchell going to Dallas, I think younger legs is a positive thing. But like I said, problems with injuries as well kind of leaves you in that same boat. I think because of the young legs, they're probably going to feed him more. So I think in Dallas, he'll have it with not as many running backs to go around. He'll have the opportunity to boost his stats and have, more of a line, maybe closer to what Elliott had this past season.
Yeah.
Close to 10 touchdowns. Again, maybe not quite as much with having Tony Pollard there in the receiving game, but Mitchell, we've seen, can catch balls as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was more of their runner, though.
Right,
in San Francisco. So I think Dallas kind of, I don't necessarily think it makes them lose any more or less.
Okay.
But I do believe San Francisco will be better off with Elliott.
Yeah, I think actually Ezekiel Elliott in San Francisco, I think that makes a huge difference for them. Because number one, I mean, let's say Trey Lance is the starter, right? Because that's the deal. He's going to be the starter apparently. That takes tremendous pressure off your young quarterback to just hand the ball off. If you don't feel confident, okay, we'll go with Elliott. Elliott, you good? Yeah, let's run the ball. Let's let him work. Let's feast him. Let's get him going, and then let Trey Lance slowly grow into the starting quarterback position, get confidence, win some games, feel what it's like to just be the guy, right? And then it also, too, takes the pressure off of Debo because he obviously has said he doesn't want to do the running back thing. Well, now you have a premier running back in the backfield that can take the carries. Like you said, he's a 3-down back. You can carry the ball with Ezekiel Elliott and say to Debo, just run routes, just catch passes. That's all we need you to do. Now you have a satisfied Debo that may not want to move, right? You have a Trey Lance that can slowly come on in the game with a defense that is building, and now you have a running back that works really well in the Kyle Shanahan system. I think this team is 11-6, 12-5. I think they may have a chance to challenge for the division at that point. I mean,
also block for his young quarterback as well.
Absolutely, he's a very underrated blocker by nobody's account. Nobody gives him enough credit on that. To give Trey Lance that extra second to be able to throw the ball is going to be crucial because he's still trying to learn ball placement and the routes and the plays and read defenses.
Decisive throws.
Yes.
Going through your progressions, finding your read, and hitting ball out.
Absolutely. And being able to throw a screen to him every once in a while. If you got to, hey, just dump it to Zeke and let him work. Let him do his thing. And,
what does he do all the time?
Right.
He wants to be fed.
Yeah, absolutely.
He gets stronger the more you give him the ball.
He's a workhorse back, and workhorse backs like him want the ball all the time.
And San Francisco likes to run the football.
Absolutely. So he would be great. Mitchell, I agree. Young legs, they'll feed him more. I think he could be the starter over Pollard. But I know they like Pollard because obviously he's more the bigger back. I get that. But I do think that Elijah Mitchell I think he would be a great compliment actually in Dallas. I think they could be an 11-6 team with him with 1,000 yards rushing for him. I don't know how many touchdowns he would have, but I think he'd be more of a receiving back. He has a pretty good catch. He has pretty good effect catching the football, but I think that he's a guy that you've seen. He's 5'9", 210, I think, something like that. He's not very big. He's Elijah Mitchell. I'm pretty sure he's not that big, and he's run up the middle many times like you would see Elliott do, who's 6 feet, 225. But I think Mitchell is like 5'8", 5'9", and like 210 or something like that, or 205. And he runs it up the middle like it's nothing.
He is 5'10".
5'10". Okay, so even still, he's still not that big a back. So the fact that he's able to run it up the middle and kind of bounce off a guy, he's very much like Frank Gore in a lot of ways. Except I would say he's definitely faster. Definitely faster. But
yeah,
I like him in Dallas. I think with that offensive line, I know it's kind of depleted now because Lael Collins, thanks Dallas, is going to Cincinnati and all that stuff. So
Crazy Jerry drafted them linemen right off the bat.
That's right. It's not Tyron Smith. Oh, I thought it was Tyler Smith. All right. But if this guy pans out, hey, the offensive line's a little bit more rebuilt. This guy is able to take off, and who knows, Dallas maybe wins the division. And I think they actually could with Elijah Mitchell in the backfield or Ezekiel Elliott. I think they can do it. All right. Next, we get to Ezekiel Elliott on the Los Angeles Chargers. This was actually pitched by one of the fans that sent this into us to talk about Ezekiel Elliott. This actually came from Danny, who's actually from Dallas, Texas. So thank you so much, Danny, for the suggestion for Elliott, by the way, too. He suggested putting him on the Chargers and Austin Eckler on the Cowboys. I'm getting the feeling, Danny, by the way, you did this because you want Eckler on the Cowboys. Might be wrong, but Drew, what do you think? Eckler on the Cowboys, Elliott on the Chargers. How do you see this happening for those two backs?
For Eckler's size, he's proven to be a pretty solid back.
I love him. He's great.
And running up the middle with him as well.
Yeah.
Now, because of his size, that has led to some injuries.
Yes.
He spent a lot of time. It was a hamstring injury, though.
Yes,
okay?
absolutely.
It's not
an upper body thing or anything.
Yeah,
it was.
He doesn't get killed out there.
No, it's very weird. He doesn't go down.
And he had 20 combined touchdowns last year. That's really good. And almost 1,000 yards rushing on 206 carries.
Yeah.
And he missed some time as well.
Yeah.
He missed games.
That's what's crazy.
Helped lead me to a fantasy championship. Very much. Austin Eckler. But, okay, Austin Eckler on Dallas would be, I don't know, it would be ridiculous.
Okay.
For the way that Dak can run.
Mm-hmm.
Dak can throw. Dak likes to check down a lot as well.
Absolutely.
I think Eckler would be. I mean, they use him a lot in LA as well.
Yeah.
Man, this one's tough for me. This one is tough for me.
I know. That's why I was suggested this.
Because of the size difference between the two. But then you look at the production, and it's like, okay, well, I think while LA is working out a nice offensive line now, it's not necessarily what Dallas has been.
Right.
Even now, Dallas has a pretty good offensive line.
Absolutely.
So I think Eckler there, I'm really struggling.
I know, and it's tough.
It's a good one. So
it is.
Thank you for pushing this one out here and make my brain work a little.
Thank you, Danny.
But I think Eckler there, he's going to do a lot. He's going to do the same. He's going to do a lot of the same things. Yeah. Still have high numbers. Mm-hmm. He's still going to give obviously having a 20 touchdown compared to 12.
Yeah.
It makes a big difference in those close games where you might not win certain games if guys aren't doing much.
Right.
And there's been lots of games where Elliott has been at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Fades out.
Yeah.
Eckler at any point could take a screen pass 70 yards for a touchdown.
Yes, he can.
Big playability. Does run routes and catch well. Since his size is there, you're going to probably lose a little on the blocking end, but the offensive line should help some with that. So I think Dallas they're going to get a lot more, they'll get more production out of the running back position, but and I think maybe it leads to another win or two.
Okay.
as far as the Chargers go, they're going to have a nice, sturdy, solid back. I think for them in this situation, for them that probably helps them some more because they have a guy who can run up the middle and grind those yards out for a young quarterback in Justin Herbert, who he still has his moments.
Yeah.
Of things that happen that you're like,
right.
But he's done some really great things too. So I think in the end of the day, it's not going to sway either team too much, but I think it would be beneficial to both sides. I think both sides would win out in this one.
Yeah.
And would be better for it.
Okay. I'll be honest with you. I think Austin Eckler on the Cowboys, this team becomes like the top team in the NFC. All right. I know that sounds crazy, but because of everything he can do, I mean, we've seen Austin Eckler play in the cold and the snow and the rain, and he doesn't change. His game does not change according to weather at all. It changes the defenses, and in that division, the only defense he's worrying about is the Eagles. Maybe Washington. Otherwise, he's going to have a field day because you can put him all over the field. I honestly think if you play him, I think he could be 1,000 back. I think he can be that guy, 1,000-yard back on both ends, receiving and rushing. I don't know if he gets 20 touchdowns. I think he may have less rushing touchdowns, but I think the receiving touchdowns probably stay the same, maybe even go up even. So maybe he has more receiving touchdowns than rushing ones. But I just feel like he would be, like you said, they lose the blocking, but I think he's exactly what Dak likes. He checks down a lot, screen pass to him, put him out as a slot receiver. Eckler does it all. He's perfect for what the Cowboys, I think, want. He's exactly what they would need to help that offense expand. Takes the pressure off of CeeDee Lamb, takes the pressure off of Michael Bishop. Now the focus is like, okay, we have to worry about where 30's at. Not so much where's 88, not so much where I don't know what number Bishop wears because it doesn't matter. But or Gallup, excuse me. I can't even get his name right. Michael Gallup.
13.
Yeah, right. 13. Thank you. Now you have to worry about this running back. And when you know he can be all, I mean, this Austin Eckler, and I'm saying this with all the due respect, he feels like the only guy that can come as close to Marshall Faulk as I have seen in the last, I would say, 5-10 years. I don't know, Drew, would you agree with that? I know that's a big up, but
yeah, at a consistent level like he does.
It's the closest thing. It's the closest thing. Now Elliott on the Chargers, I think they're 10-7. Maybe they can get to 11-6. Having him would have the ground and pound. The question is though, who's the complimentary back? And look, I'm biased because I like Justin Jackson and I went to school with him and I played with him, so I'm a little bit biased on that. But I think he's also a consistent enough running back that he could be a good complimentary back. He catches the ball well at the backfield, and he's a big back too in his own right. That I think with a little bit more speed, I think he's maybe a little bit quicker than Zeke. I don't quote me on that. I'm sure if they ran a race, I'm sure Zeke's power is beyond Justin. Sorry, JJ, I love you, but it's Zeke, man. But even still, I think his ability to kind of turn the corner off of screen passes and, the bootleg stuff and all, and, the wheel routes, I think would effectively help Elliott pull the pressure off of him. Plus, you've got Keenan Allen who can go over the middle. You've got Mike Williams who's starting to emerge. They got to find a tight end, but once they do that, they'll be able to, and their offensive line is stellar right now. It looks great on paper. We'll see. Right. I mean, look, if he's going off of Rashawn Slater, game over. That guy, pass block, run block, he destroys everybody. So
nasty.
Yeah, I would say 10-7, 11-6. Zeke's probably going for like 1,300 yards, probably scoring double digits on the rushing touchdowns. I don't know if he's having a lot of passing touchdowns, but I think he's going to become a much better pass catcher with Herbert throwing him the ball, especially too since that kid can launch it. So I expect a lot of long wheel routes coming from Zeke coming out of the backfield. I think this would be a lot of fun to watch, though. But I don't think the Chargers will ever part with Austin Eckler. But if they do, the Bears would like to give you a phone call. Just saying. All right, next we have Ezekiel Elliott on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he is going to be swapping positions, obviously, with Leonard Fournette, who led the team in rushing this past season. Obviously, Tom Brady's back. Ezekiel Elliott's now in the backfield. Fournette's going to the Cowboys. For me, it feels like a similar move to something we've seen in the past. But what do you think, Drew? How do you see this one happening for these two running backs?
I think this would be really good for Tampa.
Okay.
I think having Zeke back there, very established, not so many real down years like Fournette has had.
Yeah.
Started out hot and then went down, and then he gets even this past season for Leonard Fournette was better than the previous one. So
Absolutely.
he started out slow in Tampa, caught a lot of balls.
Yeah, he did.
Which was a change for him as well.
That's I've never seen him do that.
Right,
By the way.
exactly.
That's different.
You'd think of him being a hard nosed, get up the middle and smash.
Absolutely.
But I think Ezekiel Elliott on Tampa I think Tom would love him. He can throw him the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He can hand the ball off to him. He can block for him.
Yep.
He's not afraid to be up in everyone's business.
Absolutely.
So I think for Tampa, that increases. They have that running back now that's the guy. We have a guy now. And then you add in their weapons. I think that would bring Gronk back. And then that just adds another weapon. They're like, how could we lose then?
Right.
I think they would be the favorite to win the Super Bowl this year if you swap Fournette for Ezekiel Elliott.
Okay.
So I think that boosts them a lot.
Yeah.
I think that really completes what they're trying to do there. The run game is one that hasn't been great there in Tampa.
Right.
And while Fournette's definitely improving, he's not the guy he was his rookie season.
No.
He just hasn't been that. So I think this boosts Tampa big time. As far as Fournette going back to Dallas, I don't think he does as well. I think they might try and feed him the ball a lot, but I don't think he's the player that Zeke is, so I don't think the numbers are as high. I don't think Dallas does as well because of not being able to get a real running game established with Fournette. Yes, they still have Pollard, but I don't know that they're necessarily sold on Pollard being – yes, that's because Zeke's there, but I don't know that they're necessarily sold that – Pollard is the hands down, could be the starter for them.
Right. If they were, they would have traded Zeke by now. So.
Or why aren't there a ton of calls for Pollard saying, trade him, we want him to be our starter?
Right.
Somebody would be making those phone calls. Maybe they have and just haven't been enough compensation. But I think it'll hurt Dallas Dallas with Fournette more on their team. I think they'll try and do a lot of the same things with them. It just won't be as successful.
Okay. For Leonard Fournette going to Dallas, for me, you remember this player, DeMarco Murray.
Oh, DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco Murray. I feel like that would be the situation where it's maybe 1 or 2 years where, okay, 1,200 yards, 1,300 yards, but after a while, fade out. The problem with him is that he is a little bit of a bigger back, and he has had injuries in the past that have hampered him some. And the concern is that, like you said, feeding him the ball will potentially, I think, then lead to those injuries recurring, which would then hurt his career, which would then ultimately lead to Pollard, I think, being more the back. I think that eventually, but then there's a possibility they could split time with these guys and say, you handle the red zone 20 yards for Fournette, and then the rest of the game is going to Pollard. We're going to see what we can do with this guy. So I think then Dallas... they might go 9-8, 10-7 because they're going to need that. The thing is, Dallas needs that run game, I think, to be there. I know they went 12-5 last year, but I think they need the run game to be there to significantly take pressure off of Dak. And if it's not there, that hurts him a lot.
Right.
So not having that complimentary back like Zeke, but having Fournette there, that's great for blocking, but you can't then... You're going to know what's happening when you bring him in the game. Oh, we're going to run the ball.
We saw exactly that this past season when Dallas couldn't get the run game going. As many points as they were scoring early on when everything was clicking, when the run game wasn't working, they didn't score the points.
Absolutely.
And Dak was struggling to find open receivers. Even when they were, he didn't necessarily have the time.
And that's the biggest thing that I take away from it. So I think that they would struggle some. Ezekiel Elliott in Tampa, I mean, come on. The offensive line is still decent. The receiving core is there. I mean, Gronk would probably come back, so everything would be complimentary. They'd probably be favorites again in the NFC. Tom Brady would have one more year to shine in the sun and then maybe retire. I don't know if he actually will or not at this point.
Between them and the Rams, seeing that
I know that's the thing.
Seeing those two battle it out would be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, that would be interesting. That would be a fun one to watch, ladies and gentlemen. Especially, I mean, Zeke has also stated in the past when Donald was the up and coming riser, he's like, I could totally take him on. Okay, let's see. We've seen it before, and he stuffed you quite a few times. In fact, if I remember correctly, I think he pushed Colin Johnson, the guard, right into you, bud, and stopped you for a negative 5-yard gain.
What a beast!
I know.
What a beast.
What a monster! I'd pay him $95 million just to be my friend. So,
wish I could.
I know. Well, if I had that money, we'd be using it for something else. But
Well, yeah.
obviously, Aaron, if you want to chat, baby, come on, call us up, hit us up. We'd be more than happy to talk about it. If you want to share some wealth too, man, by all means, we'll take a cool
Buy us lunch or something.
Yeah, but right. I mean, I know
It doesn't have to be anything great. There's a Brazilian steakhouse over here.
Oh. Well, now I'm hungry.
Me too.
But
One more to go. Let's do it. And go eat.
We'll get this over with real quick. So Ezekiel Elliott on the Packers. This was also suggested by our boy Danny.
Steak.
Yeah, right.
I shouldn't have said that. That's all I'm thinking about.
I know. Now I got
Brazilian
steak on my brain. Oh God.
Sorry, Aaron Jones.
Yeah. So he would be swapping places with. I put both Packers running backs on here just because they split time so much.
They do.
A.J. Dillon led the team in rushing, but Aaron Jones is kind of, I guess, considered to be the starter because he makes the money on the team. Yeah, but
58 carries totals. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, this is the combined numbers for these two backs. In total, it was Dillon who had 803 yards, 5 touchdowns. Meanwhile, Aaron Jones had a 799 yards and 4 touchdowns rushing wise. Most of that receiving yards, by the way, definitely Aaron Jones. But Drew, whichever back it is, I mean, if you wanted to be Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, whoever, but Ezekiel Elliott.
Well, you pick right now.
I'll say Aaron Jones
Okay.
because he is the more expensive back one, and I think he is considered to be their feature back, let's call him.
Yeah.
So, okay, Ezekiel Elliott, Aaron Jones, they're swapping places. What do you think about Aaron Jones on the Cowboys and Ezekiel Elliott joining A.J. Dillon on the Packers?
I think Elliott going to Green Bay and pairing along with Dillon, they got a really big, strong backfield.
I was gonna say, yeah.
That'd be really scary. That would be really scary in the back to add with Karen.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Aaron Jones is a really good player.
Yeah.
He's just smaller, shiftier, faster, I think. Their games are a little different. While still doing a lot of the things similarly, their games are different.
Right.
Zeke's going to try and run you over. Aaron Jones is going to try and run past you or run around you or make you jump out of your socks.
Yes.
So I think that having Ezekiel Elliott in Green Bay makes a pretty unstoppable backfield all the way around.
Okay.
And at times when you put both of them out there at the same time, which way are you going to go? You're going to fake the handoff to Dillon and throw it to Zeke? You could do it both ways because guess what? A.J. Dillon can catch the ball really well too.
He surprised a lot of people
for
with
his size.
Yeah.
And what he does as a running back, you think power? Yeah, he's got power, but guess what? He can catch that football as well.
Absolutely.
So having both of them, but Aaron Jones does that too.
Right.
So it's almost like I think they have a nice setup the way it is to have the shiftier back and then the power back who can also do some shifty things and catch as well.
Absolutely.
This one's hard too.
Yeah.
This one's hard too because status quo kind of seems like the way to go here. But we have to switch them. So
right.
I think as far as rushing yards go, Ezekiel, he's definitely gonna beat that 799 that Aaron Jones did and 4 touchdowns. So I think it'll boost Green Bay's rushing attack some, while maybe not necessarily getting as much of a split. Just because I think Zeke's at slightly above Aaron Jones, not by much, but
okay,
slightly above.
Okay.
So I think maybe they'll utilize Zeke more. And then, so yeah, I think that definitely boosts their team because they can also run Zeke out to the slot some as well if they have to, while putting Dillon in the backfield. Aaron Jones going to Dallas. I think becomes their workhorse.
Yeah.
Then to me he's fairly similar to Tony Pollard, so it's kind of a redundant thing where I think Tony Pollard will almost get pushed more to the side. Aaron Jones becomes more of a feature back, and then you see his numbers soar.
Yeah.
And back with Mike McCarthy, I think Aaron Jones is going to really boost that team as well.
Okay.
Feature back.
Yeah.
3 down back all the time. They may lose a little in the blocking side with Aaron Jones, but at the same time, I think Dak's going to be able to hand the ball off to him more. He doesn't get as injured, so his availability is there for Dak. So to play more games throughout the season is definitely going to help and boost in those games where they were hurting for a rushing attack. So I think it actually could benefit both teams, while at the same time, status quo might be the best way for them to go.
Yeah.
I know I'm confusing as hell, but
No. I this is not.
I'm confused.
Yeah, right. Because this is not easy. I will say Zeke on the Packers. I don't know if he hits 1,000 yards. He might actually, and then this becomes a subtraction of AJ Dillon, because the thing is that while AJ Dillon and him could be good complements of 1 and 2, Zeke feels like the 3 down back that you can have out there all the time, and Dillon would be the backup then. They would only push in case he did get hurt or he does need a break. That would be or he'd be the goal line back, right? Because he's 240 some pounds. You know,
I just think his skill set and his
his
ability is what keeps him on the field. Is why you have to make plays for him. You have to have him out on the field as much as possible because they're that good.
No, yeah, and I agree. Is that his skill set is one that would be hard to leave off the bench, but considering that Zeke is supposed to be this all-world running back, this all-pro back, it would be hard for them to make sense of being able to say, well, we need to cut play time in half for you, even though it would make sense because then Zeke doesn't have to worry about doing all this extra workload. You have somebody that can help carry the torch a little bit there for you.
Fresher legs can only mean good things for both players.
Fresher legs, Jesus, man, massive legs too. Quad father indeed, but he's a beast. I think the Packers at that point, they're still. I mean, listen, they're still 12-5 at this point. They're still winning the division, but maybe being one of the top.
Their eyes closed.
Yeah. Probably one of the top teams in the NFC again. I just don't know though if he's gonna be enough to get them over the Super Bowl hump. I just don't see it because let's even say Christian Watson does become like a 1,000-yard receiver. By this point, it sounds like Aaron's pretty much all but done with football or coming to the end of it because it sounds like he's like, I'm committed to Green Bay, whatever that means. And he's wanted to retire at Packers. So I'm getting the distinctive feeling he's got a few more years left, which if that would be the case, well, then this move was just clearly to try and see if you can do something special. Okay, nothing happened. All right, whatever. So I think it would be good for the Packers, but I don't think it's getting you where you want to be. Aaron Jones, I see in the same line almost as Austin Eckler, not as explosive, but I see him being that same kind of player. Can be a receiver, can be a runner, can work from all angles. The only difference is I think he shies away sometimes a little bit too much from the contact. I know he can take a hit, but I think there's times where he gets a little bit. For those who remember Cedric Benson, he did a lot of this stuff where he would run across the line of scrimmage and then cut inside for 2 yards. Really great pick at 5th overall, just saying. The late great Cedric Benson, mind you, too. So, but a lot of times I see that with Aaron Jones, and obviously in this past in this NFC playoffs, we saw them play the Niners. He led the team in receiving yards. It just sometimes I obviously and that's Karen, doing his best to be a championship quarterback. No, all right. Not enough with knocking the Packers. Honestly, I think you're right. I think this does help the Cowboys a lot. This gives them another weapon. I completely forgot about Dalton Schultz, the tight end, too. He's another weapon that you can throw out there as well. Now you have 4 receivers that you can throw out there. Again, yes, they lose the blocking. I do think they can find a way to split with Tony Pollard because he is a bigger back, and he's like a track star out there. I think he's probably a little bit faster than Jones, but Jones is clear and above.
6 foot 216 for Pollard.
Yes. So I mean, he's like a lighter version of what Darren McFadden should have been. For those that remember Darren McFadden.
Oh yeah.
Who was a Cowboy at one point, believe it or not.
Sure
But,
was.
Yeah.
Did some nice things for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
He wasn't terrible for them.
I just, when you try to call him the next Adrian Peterson, that's a lot to put on a young player.
Yep.
Raiders. Also, you needed a quarterback, not Jamarcus Russell. But I do think that Aaron Jones easily could get 1,000 yards, easily could get into double-digit touchdowns. But I also think Pollard could still be in the mix on that. And again, Cowboys, I think they could be an 11-6 team. I don't know if they're winning as many games with Elliott, just because I think at some point Jones does probably go down with an injury. He seems to have started to take some knocks as he's getting older now and being used a lot. So I would say there's caution to the wind on that. But 10-7, 11-6, win the division maybe for the Cowboys. Unfortunately, neither team, I don't think, is still making the Super Bowl no matter what.
No.
And the only of these teams, the only one that probably could make the Super Bowls would be Tampa.
Raiders.
Maybe, Raiders definitely,
I think the
definitely
Raiders.
Raiders.
Yeah.
And I would say
San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco is maybe San Francisco. A lot of things would have to go wrong in their division for that to happen.
Right.
The Rams would be their toughest one, but they could easily.
I think their team improved, and
Yes.
then you look what they did, how far they went last year.
Right. Yeah.
There you go.
So there's a lot of obviously ifs and whats, and that's why we do this game, player swap, folks. We've got so many players we can do for the NFL, for the NBA. Some of you have asked for Major League Baseball. If we ever do get, would you like to do baseball? If we could get Brandon back, I know he would probably like to do it. So, but
Better be some good players.
well, listen, we've got some hockey ones. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Tom, Brandon, I need you back. So you guys got to help me with that one.
Okay, they probably still whack the puck on the ice back and forth to the other guys with sticks. Eh?
By the way, I'll say shout out to the Colorado Avalanche. They're making the Stanley Cup Finals. Congratulations to them. Just want to
Sweet.
just a little something for hockey fans out there. I know we have not touched that all season, but when we do find out who wins the Stanley Cup, we'll congratulate them. So, but with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for our show. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. This has been a fun one. This has been a very good one. And as always, I'm here with this wonderful man by the name of Drew Gwillem. Drew, as always.
That's me.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much for joining me, man. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure, man.
Always fun.
Absolutely.
Glad to be back this week.
I'm glad to have you back, man. And you know, it always brings light to my heart to know that you're here with me. So, but please let the people know where they can find you, listen to you, follow you, all that good stuff, man.
Well, you can find me right here on Wednesdays and Thursdays, 5:30, 6:30, or maybe slightly after. Sometimes we go long. We just have a lot to say.
Absolutely.
A lot of hot air built up we need to spit out.
As long as our man Scott's not standing at the window, we will be here for as long as we need to talk about it. Otherwise, if he's standing at the window, that's when you know we're like, all right, we got to go, folks. We'll wrap it up quickly. So
we'll run out fast.
Yes.
But yeah, check me out here on XBomb and Instagram at ddocwill25 and Facebook at Drew Gwillem.
Absolutely, you guys.
I will be there.
He will. He will. So if you have any questions, any good questions, and any nice questions, make sure to go hit up Drew.
What are you getting at?
Nothing with mustard. If you have any other questions for myself as well, if you want to ask me why I hate certain things, follow me at Boom Crew Captain on Instagram. I don't hate money.
Money tree.
I don't hate money trees. If they are a real thing, let me know. I would be more than interested in it. How much would a money tree cost? You know what? We're asking stupid questions now. All right, let's get it. Let's get out of here.
How much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
7.
I think that's right.
Okay. Hey, if you say a number, you can't be wrong, right? So who's ever proven that one? All right, make sure to follow us on our social media. No. Follow us on our Facebook at facebook.com/SteveXBombSports. I'm all over the place. Follow us there. You can also see us on our YouTube channel as well, XBomb Sports. We go live on XBomb's Facebook and YouTube. You can catch us on both 5:30, 6:30-ish time every Wednesday, every Thursday. This Thursday, guys, We will let you know what's up. I have some things going on with work I still have to figure out, so I will keep you up to date on what's going on with that. If not, we may not have a show, or in fact, too, Drew may go do his solo thing up here potentially, so be on the lookout for that. We'll keep you guys updated on what's going on there. Also, too, follow us on our social media at XBomb Sports, Instagram and Twitter. And also, any questions or comments, hit us up on the email at xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. We want to hear from you guys on that as well. Now, just run through the podcast real quick, TJ. I'm going to just do it fast. All right, we have Blow the Whistle radio side, Mondays, 2 to 4 p.m. There's also the TV side as well. Hit them up as well on Tuesdays, 2:30 to 3:30. We went today, so if you're catching us twice today, then yes, we did Blow the Whistle. Brandon Januskar, man, he's doing 94.3 WMKR. He's doing the 90s hour at 9. Check him out there for country radio and baseball banter with Brandon, doing the baseball thing on Spotify. Also on Spotify, too, there is Monday Motivation with Hannah B. Check that out as well. She's also doing her thing at 102.3 XLC on the radio, doing the afternoon drive. She just probably finished, and she probably killed it, as usual. And you guys will find her in the After 8 show on Star 96 with the very own Eddie Volkman doing the morning show as well. So check them out. Also, too, hit up the boys at the Parlay. And finally, the Fake Football Guys on YouTube as well. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us. We're going to get out of here. We're going to go watch some NBA Finals. Thank you all so much for watching. And as always, much love.
Eat steak.
Peace out, Boom Crew.